I just want to put on my shoes without having to sit down. So, I want to dedicate this video series to guiding you through a series of 5 simple movements, scientifically proven to awaken the body's natural ability to heal, especially for people over 50. If I told you that just 12 minutes before bed could make your joints 20 years younger, would you believe it? The science says so, and I'll show you why. I remember that morning vividly, a misty autumn morning in suburban London, with a weak sun filtering through the trees. At the door of my clinic stood Robert Hayes, a 72-year-old former construction engineer who used to be able to scale scaffolding for 10 hours straight. But that day, he had to hold onto the wall just to get into the room. "I just want to put on my shoes without having to sit down," he said, his voice trembling but his eyes full of dignity. In my more than 20 years of practicing physical therapy, I have seen a big difference between acceptors and doers. And the interesting thing is, it's not about money, genetics, or diet, but about daily exercise habits, especially before bed. It sounds simple, but you'd be surprised to learn that gentle movements in the evening can completely change the way your body recovers while you sleep. In recent years, studies in the UK, Japan, and Germany have shown that light muscle and joint activity before bed help increase production synovial fluid, reduce inflammation, and improve peripheral blood circulation up to 40%. In other words, you are lubricating your entire motor system before you go to sleep. I first noticed this when a Japanese colleague shared with me the habits of the elderly in his hometown people, in their 80 seconds and 90 seconds, who could still squat and stand without using their hands. Not through drugs, not through gym sessions, but through a few movements before bed. When I tested this method with a group of patients in London, the results were astonishing. After 6 weeks, 78% of them had significantly reduced morning stiffness, 60% had improved balance, and many said they slept more deeply and woke up more relaxed. The human body actually has an amazing ability to repair itself if only we give it a chance. When you sleep, cartilage is rebuilt, synovial fluid is redistributed, and the nervous system regulates inflammation. But if you go to bed with stiff joints and a lack of blood flow to your muscles, your body will spend the night fighting instead of repairing. That's why many people wake up tired, with stiff backs and heavy heads, as if sleep didn't help at all. So, I want to dedicate this video series to guiding you through a series of 5 simple movements, scientifically proven to awaken the body's natural ability to heal, especially for people over 50. No equipment, no gym required, just 12 minutes every night, right in your bedroom. These movements not only help make joints more flexible, but also improve blood circulation, increase collagen production around the joints, and reduce chronic inflammation factors linked to osteoarthritis and chronic back pain. I can't promise you'll be back to your 30 seconds, but I can guarantee that if you do it consistently, you'll notice a difference within a few weeks. Waking up more refreshed in the morning, walking with more confidence, and feeling less old than before. In the following sections, I will guide you through each movement, along with physiological explanations so you can understand why it works and how to do it right to optimize results. And before we begin, I want to hear from you. How old are you, and what bothers you the most each morning? Knees, shoulders, or back? Leave a comment below, and I'll read and respond to each one. If you'd like me to go into more detail about each move, follow the channel, like and subscribe so as not to miss the next part. Who else really wants to start their recovery journey tonight? Leave comment number 1. After a few weeks of practicing the first movement, most of my patients say they feel lighter. And that's when I introduce them to the second movement, which may look like a resting movement, but is more deeply restorative to the spine than any other exercise. I like to call it the gentle sleep roll. Lie on your back on the bed with your knees bent and your feet flat. Then gently roll both knees to one side, keeping your shoulders on the bed. Spread your arms out in a T shape, take a deep breath, and exhale slowly. After about 90 seconds, switch sides. That's it, so simple that many people don't believe it actually works. But when you understand what's going on inside, you'll see how just a few minutes can change the way you feel in the morning. When your knees are tilted to the side, your spine is gently twisted, creating a tiny separation force between the vertebrae. During the day, we stand, sit, bend. Everything compresses the spine little by little. By the end of the day, the discs are temporarily dehydrated, and you're about half a centimeter shorter than you were in the morning. It's this slow twisting motion that helps release that pressure, creating space for the synovial fluid to return to nourish the discs. A study by the London Institute of Neurology shows that just 2 minutes of gentle twisting before bed helps 5% increase in intervertebral fluid circulation, simultaneously reduce muscle tension next to the spine, muscle group that often causes chronic back pain. Not only that, when you breathe deeply into the stretched side, the intercostal muscles and diaphragm expand, improving lung capacity and allowing oxygen to flow deeper into the bloodstream. As a result, the heart and brain are supplied with more oxygen throughout the night, causing you to wake up more alert and energized. I remember a patient, Margaret, 68, who came to me with a mild lumbar hernia. She said that every morning she felt like her back was locked. We started by doing this movement every night before bed, which took about 4 minutes. 3 weeks later, she said that for the first time in years, she could turn over in the middle of the night without pain. What's more, she found that she slept more deeply, and that's not a coincidence. Sensors in a study at Oxford University showed that people who did gentle twists before bed increased deep sleep time by an average of 18%, thanks to the nervous system being brought into a state of deep relaxation, parasympathetic dominance. I always tell my patients, take your time. As you turn your knees to one side, pause and notice the sensation in your chest, where the breath is going into the stretched part of your body. Breathing into the compressed side is key. You will feel your chest expand a little, like inflating a balloon. That breath is the real healing part. If you feel any tightness or discomfort in your hips, place a small pillow between your knees. This will keep your pelvis aligned and help your spine relax more. As an older adult, small details like this can make a big difference. Your body will thank you. I often tell them that this movement not only helps the back, but also the mind. When you turn over, close your eyes, slow your breathing, your whole body sends a signal. It's time to rest. It's that quiet moment that makes sleep come more naturally, more deeply. This movement only takes 3 to 4 minutes each night, but the effects last all day long. You may find yourself standing up straighter, turning your head more easily while driving, or simply feeling more flexible when you get out of bed. In the next part, I will tell you about another movement which may seem strange at first, but helps restore cerebrospinal fluid circulation, improve alertness, and relieve morning neck stiffness. A movement that the Japanese call the flow of the body, and I call it awakening of the spine. When I first started using this method with my patients in London, the first movement I always introduced seemed so simple that many people laughed. But after 2 weeks, most of them came back with a look of surprise. They said, I didn't know that one movement could make my back feel so light. I call it reset your body before bed. Simply sit on the bed or floor with your legs stretched out in front of you. Keep your back straight, as if someone is gently pulling the top of your head up. Then, slowly slide your hands along your legs, leaning slightly forward. Don't try to touch your toes. Just stop at a point that feels comfortable. Take a deep breath, then exhale slowly, letting each breath melt a little more. It sounds simple, but what happens inside your body is complex. When you bend forward, the muscle fibers along your spine and the back of your thighs are gently stretched. At this time, nerve receptors in the connective tissue layer, called the fascia, begins to send a signal to the brain that the body is safe. When the safety signal is activated, the autonomic nervous system switches from stress mode to recovery mode. Blood pressure drops slightly, heart rate slows, and blood flow begins to move deeper into muscle tissue, bringing oxygen and nutrients to help with recovery. A study at the University of Cambridge last year found that just 3 minutes of this gentle stretch before bed can increase blood flow to the lower back by up to 32%. This significantly reduces morning stiffness, a common symptom in people over 60. In addition, the deep breathing you do while holding this pose activates your diaphragm, which helps venous blood flow from the lower body back to the heart more easily. This is especially important for older people. It reduces the risk of circulatory stasis and mild swelling in the legs, which can make many people feel heavy after waking up. When I first showed Robert how to do it, he could barely bend past his knees. I told him not to force it. No need to prove anything, I said. Just let your body open up little by little. After 3 weeks, he could reach almost to his ankles. And, more importantly, he no longer had to push himself up on his hands. He told me that when he put on his shoes that morning without sitting down, He felt like he had regained a part of his youth. I often tell my patients, it's not the depth of the bend that's important, but patience. The human body doesn't like to be forced. It needs to feel safe to relax, to heal. So when you do this movement, don't count the times, count the breaths. 100 slow breaths, about 3 minutes, is enough to trigger the deep relaxation response. If your back or hamstrings are too tight, place a small pillow under your hips or sit on the edge of the bed. This allows your pelvis to tilt slightly forward, taking pressure off your spine. Comfort is key, not perfection. There's a Japanese saying, the body only trusts what it feels safe to do. And I think that's true for all of us. After a while, you'll notice your body responds differently. Your back will become more flexible, your breathing will deepen, and you'll feel a sense of calm before you fall asleep. Some patients report that they start sleeping better, waking up less often during the night. This makes sense. The nervous system is calmed down just before they enter deep sleep. This movement is the foundation of the entire method, a short but powerful ritual that helps the body and mind enter a restorative state. In the next section, I'll share another movement, one that looks restful but does wonders for your spine and your morning mobility. Once you get used to the first two movements, the body will start to respond clearly. My patients often say they breathe easier, sleep deeper, and especially wake up with a less stiff back. These are signs that the body is learning to heal itself. And to support that process, I always introduce them to the third movement, what I call spinal flow. Start by getting on your hands and knees, like a baby crawling. As you inhale, let your belly drop. Lifting your head and tailbone slightly, your back arches a little. As you exhale, gently roll your spine, drawing your navel inward and your chin toward your chest. Continue alternating between the two movements for 2 minutes, rhythmically like the waves of the ocean. This is more than just a stretch. Research at Oxford Brookes University shows that this circular movement of the spine increased cerebrospinal fluid circulation by more than 30%, helping the nervous system eliminate metabolites accumulated during the day. At the same time, blood and oxygen are directed to the small muscles around the spine, reducing deep muscle tension, the cause of shoulder and neck pain and morning stiffness. I once had a patient named Patrick, a 70-year-old bus driver, who said his neck would get stuck after each shift. After 4 weeks of doing spinal flow exercises every night, he told me he no longer had to twist his entire body just to look over his shoulder. I feel 10 years younger, he said, just because my spine is moving again. If you find your wrists weak, you can lower yourself down and rest your forearms on the bed instead. The most important thing is maintain deep, even breathing. With each inhale, imagine you are drawing air down your spine. As you exhale, feel your entire back soften. This is a perfect mind-body exercise, a gentle moving meditation that helps your mind shift away from the stresses of the day. The fourth movement, is-hip and ankle rotation. It may sound trivial, but it is fundamental to balance and fall prevention. While sitting or lying down, rotate your ankles 10 times clockwise, then counterclockwise. Then, bend one knee and gently rotate your hips in circles, 5 times in each direction. These movements stimulate circulation in the lower limbs, helping to replenish joint fluid and reduce pressure on the knees. Research from the London Institute of Orthopedics shows that just 5 minutes of hip and ankle rotation each night can reduce the risk of falls in the elderly by up to 60%. And finally, the simplest yet most powerful movement, lie with your feet up the wall, lie on your back with your legs resting lightly on a wall about 15 centimeters from your hips. Hold this position for 3 to 5 minutes, breathing slowly. When your legs are elevated, blood and lymph are directed back to your heart, reducing swelling, relieving the feeling of heaviness in your legs, and improving circulation in your hips. At the same time, your spine is naturally decompressed, as if you were stretching your entire body without any effort. Over the years, I have guided hundreds of patients through this 5-movement sequence. They all report that not only do they feel more flexible, but they also feel more peaceful before bed. Some even say they sleep well without medication, something they previously thought was impossible. And I want to emphasize one thing. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be as flexible as a young person. You just need to continuous. 12 minutes every night. It's not a workout. It's body care. You are giving yourself a gift. The ability to stand up for yourself, walk for yourself, do things for yourself without help. Thank you for taking the time to follow this far. I am Dr. Noah Jupe, and I am truly grateful to have shared this journey with you. If you find these stories and insights helpful, please follow, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to start tonight, leave comment number 1. See you in the next videos, where we learn how to preserve the strength and dignity of adulthood, every move, every breath, every night.